Welcome back to the Wirex Podcast, where we explore the cutting edge of fintech, crypto, and Web3. Today, we're diving into a topic that hits at the core of Web3's promise of financial freedom. Is the system we're building too complex for the average user? To help us unpack this, I'm thrilled to welcome Amelia Tomasicchio, the co-founder and the editor-in-chief at The Cryptonomist. Amelia has been at the forefront of crypto journalism, making the complex world of blockchain more accessible to readers worldwide. Welcome, Amelia.
Thank you. Hello. Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you for being here. So let's start with a little bit on your professional background.
I started working into the crypto industry in 2015. Back at the time, I was writing for some crypto media, American crypto media. And I was also working as social media manager for some wallet and exchange platforms. And at the time, as I'm Italian, there was no magazine in Italian language. That's why in 2017, I started thinking about opening my own journal, which is a Cryptonomist that we started in March 2018. So it will be 7 years soon. And since then, I'm the co-founder of this magazine. And I also do some consultancy in terms of marketing for crypto startups and also some PR. And I think that's why we met actually with Wirex.
Absolutely. And wow, 7 years. That's a pretty long time, right? So Web3 is often promoted as the future of finance, but is it designed for the average person or just a tech savvy?
I think it would be the future, that's for sure. But at the moment, it's not the present, Like, I think there is a potential to change really the finance system, but we are not there yet. For sure, there are some things that we will need as an industry to change. Because at the moment is I think it's still a little bit more for the tech savvy. So for example, the interfaces, the terminologies, the onboarding process often required a very steep learning curve. And truly, to reach the average person, the ecosystem need to prioritize simplicity, intuitive design, and so on. So I think it's the future, but it's really the future. Like we are not there yet.
Yeah, I just feel like sometimes, trying to understand crypto, it can be really difficult, right? And also, it's so complex with like different wallets, blockchains, and, all these different things. Sometimes it's really hard to keep up, right? Are blockchain platforms and dApps doing enough to simplify user experiences, or are they making things harder for beginners?
I think that's the main goal of all the companies, to be as simple as possible. But at the moment, I don't think we are really so user friendly. So especially the interfaces, and for example, the integration on fiat on ramps. There are improvements for sure compared to 7 years ago when I started, but the improvements are sporadic, I would say. For sure, for example, also the dApps are so complex compared to maybe the SEX. So the centralized exchange are a little bit less complicated, but for sure the dApps and all the DeFi word, so all the decentralized exchange, for example, they remain daunting for beginnings. The workflows are so complex, and even for me sometimes, I know how to manage those kind of apps, but it takes a lot of time. So for example, if you want to start from fiat, you have to go on a platform, Then you have to, I don't know, make a bridge if you want to change the type of the blockchain you're using. Then I don't know, maybe you need another exchange because I don't know that token is not listed on the exchange you have, so you need to open another platform. So it's quite complex. So for sure there are some improvements, but I think we can do better as in terms of, I'm using we, but I mean, of course, the whole ecosystem.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, and I think they definitely need to simplify the user experience, right? I mean, like for me, just trying to find an emoji takes ages sometimes, and that's just like on emojis. And so what would Web3 need to do, I mean, to truly democratize access to financial systems without requiring users to become experts first? How can we simplify it?
Yeah, I mentioned a few. So, for example, the interfaces sometimes they are not so intuitive. The client support, for example, sometimes I have some friends and colleagues who want to use a platform, but they don't really have the client support, the user support in the native language. So it's something that need to be fixed because you are talking about finance, you're talking about assets. So people just really want to be sure they are doing the correct stuff, and if you don't communicate with them in their native language, it is a problem. For example, the other thing I would say, the educational resource, but really built into the platforms to guide user in real time. So it would be easier, like a small tutorial, when you use the application for the first time, for example. Also, I would reduce the jargon in favor of plain language. Sometimes it's very tricky to understand the terminologies, especially for a beginner, for sure. And yeah, the wallet management, sometimes it's very difficult. As I said, it can take a lot of steps to do a bridge on another blockchain or to change from fiat to crypto. It's very complicated. And especially it takes some time. So it's something you cannot do in just 10 minutes. So for sure, people would abandon if they have to do the KYC, and then you need to wait, I don't know, 2 days for a reply if your KYC is being approved. So a lot of people for sure would abandon the the use of the platform. So because it takes forever sometimes.
Yeah, and I think, uh, because Web3, we don't have like customer service, right? There's no number to call, when you've got
Yeah,
questions.
exactly.
And I also feel like, we all need a friend that we can ask stupid questions, because most of the time we get so, I mean, I'm speaking for myself, I get a little bit embarrassed to ask, like, what I think would be a stupid question. But I suppose, there are no stupid questions in Web3.
No.
And so, yeah, I just wanted to maybe ask, like, why do you think many users jump into crypto without fully understanding the risk? Is it curiosity, FOMO, or just poor guidance?
No, but for sure at the moment, for example, with the bull run and all positive news regarding Trump, there are a lot of even general media influencers, even at the TV. There are a lot of people talking about crypto. So for sure, there is curiosity, but also the fear of missing out. Um, because there are a lot of sensationalized success stories, and so a lot of people want to jump in the hope of quick gains. But yeah, because it's so complicated, I think there is not really the understanding of the risks. And when price goes up, yeah, there is a lot of success story. Oh my god, I made some 100% of gain. There are a lot of posts on social media like that, so people wants to do the same. And often they don't really look at the the importance of understanding the risks.
Yeah, definitely. And I think also when when it's a bull run, there are a lot of scammers as well, right?
Also, yeah,
That will chance it, right? And if we
for
don't
sure.
really understand the risk, we might fall prey to it,
Yeah, even
Um,
we can people are buying some shit coins. So yeah, there is also this problem.
Yeah, definitely. And also like, I've also seen, with some founders, they don't really have financial literacy either, which is a little bit
Yeah.
worrying because sometimes and especially when they're trying to tokenize something, I'm like, my friend, I think you need to understand the basics of, financial literacy, right? But then I suppose that's where a CFO comes in, for example. Um, but having said that, if financial literacy doesn't improve, could Web3's promise of decentralization end up, failing the very
Mm.
people it aims to empower?
Yeah, absolutely. That's why actually I started a magazine about crypto, because there is really a lack of financial literacy, and also, as you said, there are a lot of people already that lack of financial literacy. So imagine crypto literacy; it's even more complicated. And so for sure, yeah, it's our job to try to prevent scams, to create guides for platforms, try to let people understand the risks of this world. And yeah, that's what I'm doing since, yeah, almost 7 years now. So yeah, for sure, it's
Yeah.
something important. And also, um something like I'm quite scared of, it's when people say only they actually general media, sometimes they speak about, I don't know, Bitcoin or even other cryptocurrencies only when there is the bull run, saying, "Oh my God, there is this person that made tons of money thanks to crypto." So it's very successful story, and that's why a lot of people are feeling FOMO. Or sometimes completely the opposite, when we are um, in a bear market, and so no, you will lose all the money. So there is always these big
Like this.
titles.
And also fudders, people who
Yes,
just fudge
exactly.
everything.
Yeah, like clickbaiting titles to let people click and read the article, but it's there is also an average market, like normal people investing, normal money to make. So yeah, and that's why we are really trying to do our job to let people understand more about crypto, and yeah, for sure, to prevent scam. This is the worst stuff.
Yeah, and no, and it's so amazing what you're doing, right? In terms of education, because I feel like education is still very much needed in the space. Because sometimes I hear people say, DYOR, but then to a newcomer, if they don't know where to find the information, how are they going to do their own research, right? So, hats off to you and total respect. Thank you for doing what you do. Um, if Web3 is supposed to bank the unbanked, is it actually creating a new class of unbanked, those excluded by knowledge gaps, perhaps?
Mm, yeah, I know what you mean. I don't know. Yes and no, I would say, because for sure, people that can use cryptocurrencies and they are really unbanked. So crypto, it can improve their life I'm talking about people, I don't know, in Africa, for example, or in Latin countries. So for sure, the knowledge of cryptocurrency and then if they can entry in this industry, for sure there are less unbanked. But yeah, for sure it's you need to understand the, as we said, the risks, and you need to be aware on how using the apps. So for sure the people that cannot use these the crypto tools, there is a risk that those excluded by knowledge gaps become the new unbanked, but I would say the new crypto unbanked. So at least we can solve the problem of really people that are unbanked, like in Africa or in Latin countries. So if you cannot invest in crypto, um, I don't feel like you are really excluded from the society at the moment. So I wouldn't say it's really a problem at the moment.
Not yet.
Not yet. As at the moment. I know. Maybe in the future.
Maybe, but then that would be awful, just to seclude someone just because of their knowledge level, right? And that goes against the whole ethos of Web3. What does financial freedom in Web3 look like to you? Is it achievable for everyone, you think?
I think so. I think so. Actually, that's why I firstly entering the space. I was very interested by this freedom, especially with completely decentralized cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin. Because also when I entered in the space 7 years ago, there was a Bitcoin. It was the biggest and not the only one, but almost the only one. So I was very intrigued by the financial freedom brought by Bitcoin. And so I think financial freedom in Web3 means granting individuals full control over their assets, so access to global financial opportunities, and you can transact without intermediaries. And I think that's really the goal of cryptocurrency. So sometimes I think we forget that it's not really only an investment possibility, but it really brings you financial freedom. And I think sometimes, even the media, they just think about the price of the assets, but not really the potential of this technology.
Yeah, and I feel like, not enough is that there's not enough highlight on financial freedom being the fact that you have a choice. I feel like, when we're given that choice, when we have that, that freedom of choice, that would be financial freedom, right?
I think the problem is also that maybe because we live, in my case, in Europe, but a lot of other conference, maybe they are in the States, so we are quite, I would say, free, and we don't have issues with banks. So we have a completely different life compared to people of living in authoritative states with this dictatorship and whatever. So we don't really focus on this aspect.
Yeah, that's so true, actually. Thank you for bringing that up, because it's such a wide-ranging landscape, right? Like, and everyone's journey is different. So everyone's definition of financial freedom would also be different, right? Yeah, that's a really good.
So maybe that's why we don't talk a lot about it, because we are already in a privileged situation. So maybe that's why.
Yeah, I totally agree. So if you had the power to redesign one key aspect of Web3 to make it more user-friendly, what would it be?
I would redesign the platforms especially the one like the exchanges, probably, to really try to have simplifying wallet creation, improving the recovery mechanism. For sure, in this case, I'm speaking about centralized exchange, and integrating real time educational prompts. So it would be really make a significant difference in user onboarding and retention, because yet they remain not really intuitive for many users, as we said. So yeah, I think the design and education, they will make the difference.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. And do you think Web3 will ever reach a point where financial literacy isn't a prerequisite for participation? I mean, with the advent of AI and everything as well, right?
Yeah, I think it will become the barriers will be less high. And I've seen already this, because when I started 7 years ago, not a lot of people were speaking about Bitcoin. They didn't know anything about Web3, blockchain, and now even the almost the average Joe, at least they already heard about the crypto world. So yeah, I think it can move from being a niche ecosystem to a universal financial infrastructure in some time.
Yeah, I agree.
The next
Because
2 years, probably. Yeah, because I've already seen the curve of adoption. So, and in 7 years, which is not a lot of time actually. So I think it will be more and more used and more easy to use. And we already seen a lot of banks, for example, investing into crypto. Now there's Trump. The regulation is becoming clearer. So I think, yeah, it would really become the successful.
yeah, I mean, like, I was just thinking about like a couple of friends of mine who, when at first heard about crypto, they think it's, play money. It's like, oh, it's not real money, right? But then now,
Yeah.
after having, learned a little bit more about crypto, now they're taking, crypto a little bit more seriously. So, yeah, so, it's quite it's nice to also watch how someone transitions from, oh, crypto's not real money to actually, using and really loving crypto, you know. So for me, that's a highlight. Um, and Amelia, is there anything else you'd like to add that we didn't cover?
No, again, it's been really a pleasure to be invited for this podcast, and I invited everyone to read Cryptonomist, of course, and to contact us if they need any suggestion, or we do some consultancy as well to for the onboarding of crypto. So if they want to invest and have suggestion on which platform to use and how it works, we are very happy to have people.
Amazing. I almost feel like now 1-900 autonomous.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Amelia, for your time and for all your insights. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you so much.
And that's it for today's episode of the Wirex Podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, this conversation, don't forget to subscribe and share with your network. And see you next time.